Residents of Hawaii received frightening messages today, throwing them into a panic. It took an incredibly long time to reverse their statements, further compounding the issue. The question is, was this mismanagement or was this simply a test? You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. If you received this message, what would you do? What would you think? Well, many people realized today that they are not prepared, that they are not ready for this to happen. Everyone hopes and prays that something like this would never occur. Even the threat of it. Despite all of the conjuring that's been building in recent weeks and months, many people never expect it. And then they get this message on their phone, and it becomes, in their mind, a reality. And then the panic sets in. Many people said, I didn't know what to do. They weren't prepared. And that goes for probably about at least 95% of the population in major city centers. So let's get into it today. What happened? The whole state was terrified. In many cases, I read 37 minutes. Other people were saying 39 minutes to say that it was a false alarm. This was at 8 o'clock in the morning, and people were basically supposed to be seeking shelter. There was something coming inbound. I have to watch the words I use because the video will get blocked. But essentially, these people are terrified. They never saw something like this before. They're being warned of it consistently over the last few weeks and months, and then they receive this message. Of course they're going to be freaking out. And the fact that it took however long, let's just say 30 minutes. 30 minutes for them to, okay, let's send another message and tell everyone that's a false alarm. I mean, that's something, at the very least, it's mismanaged. But I think something else. They said that this was sent out by accident when an employee mistakenly pushed the button during a shift change. Okay, I'll get more into my opinions in a moment. Let's just cover some facts. This particular individual was saying it took 39 minutes, saying the aftermath of the false alert was crazy. They were crying and screaming, wondering what to do. They were praying. They were asking for forgiveness. I mean, they didn't know really how to handle it. And it's not something easy to take, of course. The slow response to the false alert and ongoing questions about how the state responded to the message drew anger from lawmakers and sent Hawaii residents and visitors into a panic, scrambling for any shelter they could find. From storm drains to bathtubs to businesses. I was thinking, where do we go? And so they panicked. That's ultimately what people are going to do. So imagine any sort of disaster that could occur. The same situation. The same situation. And we see that events that occur all the time, whether it's natural disasters or what have you, that drive people into these frenzies. They're not prepared. And ultimately, they freak out. And here it says that people started driving 100 miles per hour. If this was for real, what do we have to say for our whole defense system? And that's exactly what we need to understand. They're supposed to be there, monitoring everything, checking everything, making sure it's all good. And then at the same time, somebody accidentally hits a button and then they don't find out about it for 30 minutes plus. I don't know. Now, one of the things I wanted to mention was, what if something does happen? It is my opinion that Oahu would be the primary target. Maybe Kauai as well, but I think Oahu would probably be the target of that. I'm not sure the accuracy, but I think that's where it would go. Then we have to worry about after effects and everything else. But I do believe that that is where your primary risk would be. I mean, if you're anywhere here, I mean, that's really where most of the population of Hawaii is as well. We do have the potential here. I mean, you have Mauna Kea and all the mountains that are here. I mean, massive mountains. Potentially, those individuals on this side of the Big Island might fare better. I mean, when you talk about the trade winds, simply because the trade winds are going to bring it out in this direction. So that's what leads me to believe maybe Kauai, at least I'm talking initial situations here. But ultimately, I mean, Hawaii is not a big place. I just thought I would look at that and just try to, where the impact would be felt the most. It's total speculation on my part anyway. I'm not suggesting anything. This is one of the things that people need to understand here. So think about Japan, for example. If there was, with the whole Fukushima incident, people think that it goes directly across. So here is Hawaii. I'll just highlight that. It looks like Hawaii anyway. It doesn't go directly across, right? It's not going to go sort of in this direction with Fukushima and just hit the side of the US. It actually goes around this way. So understand where the trade winds are, understand the currents to know the impact of that in relation to where you live. And so let me just touch on one point here. Was it really a false alarm? Now think about wherever it is that you work. Okay, any job. Could be something that would seem, not as serious as something like this situation, okay? You have to go through, if you're in a big business especially, you have to go through 3 of your superiors, you have to sign 2 papers, you have to fill in forms on your internet, and you have to go through this, and you have to send it off to a person who physically brings that paper to somebody else, and they sign it, and they sign. There's so much red tape involved. Yet, somehow, this message, which is sent to all the residents of Hawaii, it just gets sent off. Somebody accidentally hit a button. Does that seem realistic to you? That something so serious, somebody could just accidentally hit a button, and then it takes 30 minutes plus for them to figure it out and to send another one to say, oh, that was a false alarm. I don't know. To me, seems a little fake. I think this could have been a test in some way, shape, or form to see how the people react, to see how the whole management system throughout is reacting to it. Maybe somebody high level said, let's give it a test. Let's try it out. Let's see how the people would actually find themselves in this situation. Maybe. Again, totally speculative. But I just think that when you think about any job that people have, there's a lot of red tape. There are a lot of, forms to be filled out, and you have to get management approval for this, and 2 of you have to go into the room, and then the other guy has to go into the room, and there's all of these different things. Yet something so serious, some guy can just accidentally walk out of the room, hit the switch on the way out, turns the light off, and all of a sudden everybody is, receiving these messages and is in a panic. It just doesn't seem too realistic to me. I think it's some sort of test, some sort of warning in some way. I'm not on the inside, I don't know, but just the way I see it. I'll leave it there. Want to know what you think about this? Please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to check out the links in the description below. Take care. I just wanted to add into the end here, if you are in Hawaii, if you know somebody who was there at the time, if you have any information about the situation that I did not bring up today, please share it. I want to know from people actually on the ground or who have secondhand information what they saw, what they heard, the things that were happening. Were people prepared? Were people panicking, running through the streets? Were they cool, calm, and collected? Any signs that you saw? Was it coming up in your TV? Was it coming up in your phone? I want to know the inside details. So I do appreciate that very much, because this show here, the Money GPS, is one where I take information from people all over the world, real people, okay? And I bring that and share it with the rest of the world. And that's basically what this is trying to gather all the data together from 1,000 different sources, bring it together and share it. So I hope you appreciate that. Again, if you're there, if you heard anything, let me know. Take care.